Hi friends, welcome back to part 3 of class 10 science chapter 3 metals and nonmetals. In this video we shall cover ionic compounds and their properties. If we take a metal such as sodium and a non-metal such as chlorine and then try to react them, then will a reaction take place? Most importantly, if a reaction will take place, then why would it take place? So in this video, we shall find the answers to all these questions. So first, let us see why do elements react or combine with each other. So the reason behind this is to achieve stability. So atoms of elements combine to form stable compounds. Now what is the meaning of stability? So stability means that the element should have a completely filled valence shell, or which is the outermost shell. So each atom has a tendency to attain a completely filled valence shell. So now let us understand more about this with the help of the reaction between sodium and chlorine. So the sodium atom has an electronic configuration of 281. So this means that it has 2 electrons in its K shell, 8 electrons in L shell and 1 electron in its M shell. So if it loses 1 electron from the M shell, then its L shell becomes the outermost shell. And as the L shell has 8 electrons, so it is completely filled. So now the sodium atom has a completely filled outermost shell, so it is a stable. But now one thing has changed. As sodium has lost 1 electron, so therefore it has got 11 protons but only 10 electrons. Now as you know that one proton has plus 1 positive charge and 1 electron has minus 1 negative charge. So therefore the 10 electrons will cut the charge of 10 protons, but plus 1 positive charge will be remaining. So therefore we get a plus 1 charge on the sodium atom, giving us a sodium cation, which is stable in nature. Now the positively charged ions are known as cations and negatively charged ions are known as anions. Similarly, chlorine atom has an electronic configuration of 287. So it has 7 electrons in its valence shell and it needs 1 more electron for a completely filled valence shell. And now when it gains 1 electron, then it gets a negative charge of minus 1. Therefore, it gets converted into a chloride anion or a chloride negatively charged ion. So from this we see that sodium needs to lose 1 electron and chlorine needs to accept 1 electron to be stable. So if sodium and chlorine react with each other, then the electron lost by sodium is gained by chlorine. So both become stable. Now the sodium and chloride ions, being oppositely charged, attract each other and are held by very strong electrostatic forces of attraction, forming sodium chloride. This bond between sodium cation and chloride anion is known as ionic bond. So now let us understand more about the ionic compounds. The compounds formed by transfer of electrons from a metal to the non-metal are known as ionic compounds. So now let us see the properties of ionic compounds. First, physical nature. So they are solid and somewhat hard in physical nature. This is because of the strong forces of attraction between the positive and negative ions. And these compounds are generally brittle and they break into pieces when the pressure is applied. So if we put pressure on these compounds, then they will break into small pieces. Second, melting and boiling points. So they have a very high melting and boiling point. This is because there are very strong forces of attraction between the ions and a lot of energy is required to break these forces of attraction. So here I am showing you few examples of the melting and boiling points of few ionic compounds, and you can see that they have very high melting and boiling points. Third, solubility. So if we put an ionic compound into different substances and check their solubility, then the ionic compound will be soluble in water and insoluble in solvents such as kerosene, petrol, etc. Fourth, conduction of electricity. So this means that ionic compounds conduct electricity in aqueous solutions. Let's conduct an experiment to understand this better. So take water in a beaker and insert 2 carbon electrodes in it. Now make a circuit as shown in the diagram and connect the circuit to a bulb. Now add sodium chloride to the water and dissolve it. When you turn the switch on, you will observe that the bulb glows. So this means that a sodium chloride solution has conducted electricity through it. So now let us see the reason for this. Conduction of electricity through a solution involves movement of ions. When electricity is passed through an NaCl solution, it dissociates into Na positive and Cl negative ions. These ions move to the opposite electrodes, and so Cl negative moves to the negative positive electrode and Na positive moves to the negative electrode. Due to the movement of ions, the electricity is conducted through the solution. So this is all for today. I hope you have understood. Thank you.